Hey guys, welcome to this week's live Q&A for members of biohackingsecrets.com. I am your host, Anthony DiClementi, and I appreciate you guys spending the time here. So here's the deal with these for those of you that are new and don't know. Every week or so, I try to jump on live with you guys and help you with a lot of your most pressing questions. We have various levels where we give a ton of stuff away for free with our Biohacking Secrets Show podcast, the free book, The Biohacker's Guide to Upgraded Energy and Focus, the Facebook Live videos, and all of that. And then as people want more information, they're like, wow, that stuff's really cool, I want more. We have a membership site, which many of you guys, hopefully all of you guys, are members of. And that has exclusive content, premium videos, stuff that you won't find in all of our free stuff. We also do live Q&As for members of the membership site, and there's even a premium version of the membership site where for $197 a month you get my private Voxer and you get to ask me some questions, and it allows an even higher level of personalization. And then as you move up, we have our events like Biohacking Week for men and women, where you come out here with a group of like-minded people that have similar goals and interests and aspirations of upgrading their mind, body, performance, increasing their energy, and living their best life. And you get to do a lot of my favorite biohacks. I take you around my biohacking home here and show you a lot of the specific things that I implement on a daily basis and use myself. And then at the highest level, we have our premium coaching programs where I work with you one-on-one. We do a very deep and detailed health assessment analysis. I recommend blood work. I go through your labs. I customize a program for you and help you deal with a lot of health issues. So that's kind of how the different levels work. And so here we are. This is something that we do for our members of the membership site, and appreciate you guys showing up. So we'll dive into the questions. As you guys have questions here, type them into the comment section if you haven't already asked them. One of the other things is so that for people that are working or can't get off on lunch and have questions, we record these calls and we upload them to the membership site. So you can ask your questions on the private Facebook page. I'll have a thing that will say like, hey, post your questions for next week, and you can post your questions there in the comment section and I'll answer them here so that even the people that can't attend live get to still ask their questions. So what's up, Machek? What's up, Jody? How you guys doing? Good to have you on. Yeah, so if you guys have questions, add them now to the comment section. I'm going to go through some of the ones that we've already had submitted. We'll have a little bit of fun, and yeah, it'll be cool. All right, so first question. How soon after the morning drink with Bragg's and organic lemon can you eat or take a pre-workout powder? If the pre-workout's meant to be done on an empty stomach, you can do it at the same time. So not a big deal. It's with a lot of these things, the tendency is to start micromanaging and like compartmentalizing and trying to do too much and keeping too many different things separate. And when that happens, there's like this decrease in compliance and sustainability. It's like, focus on just getting it done first. And then when you're like, all right, I've got this, it's one of my habits, I'm doing it every single day, and you've done it for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, then you can say like, all right, could I optimize my results by tweaking things a little bit, maybe separating the pre-workout from the Bragg's drink? Perhaps, but I wouldn't sweat it right now. I would just do them both at the same time. I lump most of my empty stomach stuff together and then my with food stuff together. I used to take supplements at like 5 different times throughout the day, and it just got to be a huge pain in the butt. And so now it's like I do my empty stomach vitamins in the morning with the Bragg's, and then I do my with food supplements with meals, and that is it. Keep it really simple, and you'll find that compliance, sustainability, all that good stuff goes up, Jody. So hope that helps. And then I would take a look at your pre-workout though, and just see what's in there, because a lot of times like there's just so much junk and artificial sweeteners and chemicals and BS in these pre-workouts. It's like my pre-workout now is ProLab Advanced Caffeine, and it's a heck of a lot less expensive than any of the other pre-workouts. And I've done the Eno Explode and the this and the that, and I've tried all of those. I've even done more advanced stacks with like the Fedra caffeine and aspirin when I was really leaning out for photo shoots and stuff. And in terms of not compromising your health and getting the most bang for your buck out of a pre-workout, I think advanced caffeine with a bunch of high quality water, like a bottle of Mountain Valley spring water, is the best pre-workout. Yeah, so hope that helps. All right. other questions. And if you guys have questions as we go, I'm going to say this a few times just because people jump on and off. If you guys have questions, put them in the comments section here if you haven't already asked them. Okay, how do I feel about fasting before a workout? So I feel good about it. I do it most of the time. Most of my workouts are fasted. I have a tendency to put on weight pretty easily. I can lose weight pretty easily as well. But when someone has healthy blood sugar and insulin response and they're in a relatively good state of health, their mitochondria are functioning properly, fasted workouts are one of the best ways to lean out and increase lipolysis. As soon as you start putting food in your stomach, you're going to burn that first, and it's going to decrease the leaning out effect that you're going to get from your workout. So if it depends on your goals, of course, but if improving body composition by reducing body fat is one of your goals, then I would suggest fasted workouts. Easiest time to do that is in the morning. For anyone, unless you're doing 2-a-days, get your workouts in the morning. Most of us aren't morning people, but life gets in the way when we put this shit off. And you want to have it where like the first 60 to 90 minutes of your day, you're getting everything that you need to do on that day in, so that even if like a shit storm hits later on, you've still got all this stuff, all the important things out of the way. Like if your health is a priority, you make it a priority, and you make things a priority by doing them first. So get your workouts in early, do them fasted. You're going to naturally be fasted because you've been sleeping for hopefully close to 8 hours. You drink a bunch of water beforehand. Like I said, take a ProLab Advanced Caffeine, dive in and do your workout. If you have no choice and you have to work out in the afternoons or evenings, or you are doing 2-a-days, like you're getting ready to get on stage or something like that, then you can simulate a fasted state by not eating for 4.5 to 5 hours before your workout. And so like, let's say you're going to be working out at 5:30, right? Like you get out of work at 5 and you're going to hit the gym at 5:30. Well, then I wouldn't eat anything after like 12:30. And now you could get increased a thermogenic effect from like taking a ProLab Advanced Caffeine 30 to 45 minutes before that 5:30 workout. But what you're going to have happen then is that you're going to interfere with sleep. So it's going to prevent you from getting that deep and REM sleep that we need to restore and recover. So that's another reason why it's just way better to get it all out of the way in the morning. And if you do it at night, I'm not a fan of stimulants or pre-workouts at that point, because even if you don't think that it's affecting your sleep, it is. We're just not aware of it. So that is how I feel about fasting. And again, there are an entire subsection of people. A lot of them are clients that I work with that have mitochondrial dysfunction or gut dysfunction or blood sugar dysregulation. And those people don't do well with fasted workouts. They do better eating every 2 to 3 hours. People with adrenal issues too. They do better eating every 2 to 3 hours and keeping, having some protein with every meal and keeping that blood sugar and everything and those energy levels stable, because their body hasn't yet returned to a healthy state. And so if you're there too, you want to take that into account, and you look at like all of the different stressors in your life as we all have a cup, right? And this cup is like our stress tolerance. And let's say like you've got a little bit of stress from work, and then you've got a little bit of stress because you're not sleeping enough, and then you're doing fasting, intermittent fasting throughout the week, or maybe even doing like a full 24 to 36 hour fast a couple times a week, and maybe you're magnesium deficient. I'm just giving examples, and like so that you're more prone to anxiety and stress, or maybe you're MTHFR, you have different genetic variations, whatever. All these things, at some point the cup can overflow. When the cup can overflow, all those things lead to like chronic stress, where it has a negative, detrimental impact on our health. So be aware of how you feel. If you do a fasted workout and it makes you feel like shit, don't keep doing fasted workouts because I told you so, or because you read it on Livestrong or something. Pay attention to your body and adjust. If something makes you feel bad, there's a reason, and it could be any of those aforementioned circumstances. So hope that helps. What is your take on Mua Huang, which is ephedra? So my take on ephedra, I have used it. You can get ephedra still it's sold in many like over-the-counter bronchial dilators, like Broncaid and Primatene. I don't use it anymore. I have used it in the past when I was like getting ready for a photo shoot or something like that. You know, the old school bodybuilding ephedra, caffeine, and aspirin stack. It's especially in people that have higher risk of cardiovascular events, it can be very problematic. So I don't use it anymore. The risks outweigh the benefits. It's very effective at increasing, you know, the thermogenic effect of your workouts and helping you to lean out. But it's also like the ticker can you know, we only have one. So I don't use ephedra anymore, but I do know people that still choose to go that route, and that's okay. It really depends on short-term use. What are you knowing your body, and you know, I do believe that we all have the right to choose what we put in our body as long as we're doing it from an informed position and knowing the risks and rewards. And yeah, so that's kind of like my take on ephedra. Have used it, don't use it anymore. I don't recommend it to clients unless they're like, hey, I really need to look amazing for this. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I explain the pros and cons and say, you can make your decision, do your research, but here's how you can use it if you want to. So hope that helps. Brad asks, is there an age range preference for the 14 supplements you recommend in the Biohacking Your Supplements video? Okay, so I think I'd replied to him. Brad is referring to the top supplements for increasing your energy. It's like one of the bonuses that was offered when people get the book, and we added it recently to the membership site. I don't recommend all of those, like, hey, take all of these at once. Those are 14, I think it's 15 actually, of the most common supplements that I use in helping people to improve their energy. And in the video, I describe the mechanisms by which they work. But it's not like, hey, go take all of these. Like, that's why in coaching we figure out what's going to have the highest impact. And I use hundreds of supplements to help clients with issues. It's not like just those, but those are the ones that I go to most often for energy. And like if someone wanted to just pick some certain supplements, they would get a lot of value from those. I wanted to clarify, so I said, Brad, if you can tell me a little bit more about your situation. And I said what I just told you. He said, okay. He said he's 22 years old. He walks around at about 150, 155 pounds. He's already decently fit, doesn't have any health issues, but he'd really like to optimize mental clarity, focus, cognition, and overall cellular health. And just as a side question, what's your take on doing cleanses? Okay, so 2 questions there. So for someone who is young, doesn't have any health issues, but wants to optimize mental clarity, focus, cognition, and overall cellular health, some of the places that I would start, I would be taking a good B multivitamin, and something like the Thorne Methyl Guard Plus, or Premier Research Labs has one called B-ND, which is a liquid, and it's a fermented probiotic B vitamin complex. You want to make sure that you're getting like a methylated folate, your B6 as pyridoxal 5-phosphate, your B2 as riboflavin 5-phosphate, your B12 as methylcobalamin, and those 2 products do a pretty good job at combining many of those. So I would look into one of those. I would probably start with Thorne Methyl Guard Plus if you don't have any digestive issues, and I would take 3 a day with food. I would combine that with a sublingual B12 and methylfolate supplement. Seeking Health has a good one called Active B12 with LMTHF. And again, that's the sublingual methylfolate and methylcobalamin, the bioactive forms of B12 and folate. So I would start with those 2. I would take a good DHA supplement, the omega-3 fat that's most prevalent in our brain and central nervous system. The one that I recommend is Nordic Naturals brand Pro DHA 1000. I'll grab, oh no, I don't, right here. You take 4 soft gels of the Pro DHA 1000 daily with food. There's also Doctor's Best has one that's made from calamari. That's a DHA supplement that's pretty decent. You can rotate between those two depending on how you respond, if you respond well to both of them, and just to diversify your intake. And similarly, you want to increase your consumption of raw, wild-caught seafood like wild oysters, wild-caught sushi. A lot of sushi is farm-raised. Make sure it's wild-caught. Sashimi if you're sensitive to grains like rice or watching your carb intake. So now you've got your B vitamins covered, you've got your DHA covered. I would take magnesium, Cal brand magnesium glycinate. You're probably going to be between 600 and 1200 milligrams a day. Again, that's KAL brand magnesium glycinate, and malate being the 2 most bioavailable forms. I use glycinate with a lot of clients and I take it myself. You want to find the dosage that is going to have you feeling relaxed and calm without giving you disaster pants, which can happen from too much magnesium. So 600 to 1200 milligrams, which will be between 3 and 6 capsules a day with food. So now you've got your B vitamins, your DHA, and your magnesium covered. And if I was going to give one more recommendation for optimizing mental clarity, focus, cognition, and overall cellular health, depends where you live. So if you live in an area that doesn't get a lot of sun, I would do like a Purity Products Advanced D, and I would take 2 of those a day. If you are pretty good at getting a lot of sun, or make sure that you get into a high UVB tanning bed, 2 to 3 times a week if you're in an area that doesn't get a ton, like Chicago right now, then you can probably swap out that D for like CoQ10 could be good. A probiotic like Prescript Assist could be good. And then there's even, nootropics and cognitive enhancing supplements like Qualia or Life Extension Cognitex. But that would all, then we start getting into the customization. Like the big ones that almost everybody can benefit from are the B vitamins that I mentioned, the DHA and the magnesium. And then, you can throw in the vitamin D. I would start every day off with 10 to 35 minutes of jogging, steady state cardiovascular work in your target heart rate zone, and you'll find a huge cognitive enhancement effect from that. And cleaning up your diet, follow the nutrition recommendations in the Biohacker's Guide to Upgraded Energy and Focus, or actually we've got a lot more detailed information in the videos here in the Biohacking Rapid and Sustainable Fat Loss course and the Module 1 nutrition deep dive. So yeah, Brad, hope that helps. And guys, as you're watching, if you have questions, what's up, Angie? How you doing? If you guys have questions, throw them in the comment section. I'll jump on those. And then Brad had also said, as a side question, what's your take on doing cleanses? Okay, so the way that most people do cleanses is just, they're going about it all wrong, and it's not helping. It's slowing down their metabolism. It's wasting a lot of time and energy, and you can tell because it doesn't really get them anywhere, right? I'm going to be doing a cleanse this month. It's a True Cellular Detox Cleanse by Dr. Pompa, and let me see if I got the link handy. I've been recommending it to a few clients. I'll have to pull it up and find a way to share it with you guys. Maybe I'll throw it in like the comment section of this video or something. But it's a 90-day detox. I'm going to be doing that starting in January. So he's put together some formulations that are really special. There's like a product called Cyto Detox that uses a very small form of zeolite that's actually able to get inside of our cells and help with cellular detoxification. He addresses things like MTHFR and these genetic variations that can prevent proper detoxification, and it's all encompassed and addressed in this 3-month 90-day detox. So it's like the downside is it's like $1,000. The good side is that it actually works, and you're not running yourself into the ground for no purpose just to lose a few pounds on the scale that are mostly water weight because you're restricting carbohydrates and not eating garbage, and then you gain it all back because none of your habits have changed, and all you did was drink some juice for a few weeks. So yeah, I mean, to really answer how I feel about cleanses, it would depend on the cleanse, and I can give you more specifics, but that is my answer in generalities. And again, I'm going to be doing the 90-day detox. I think it's called like the True Cellular Detox by Dr. Pompa. I'm starting that in January, and it's just about $1,000 for the 3 months. So yeah, cool. So that's the questions that people sent in advance. And if you guys have questions, throw them in the comment section here. I'm going to start going through the comments. And yeah, let's see what we got. All right. Jody says, thanks. You're welcome, Jody. What's up, Angie? What's up, John David? All right. So Angie says, what do you feel is too much protein? Signs of excess protein. If you're asking, you're probably consuming too much protein. Yeah, feeling tired, sluggish, stiff. The best way to go about knowing if you're consuming too much protein is dial it back and see if you feel better. So let's say you wanted like a benchmark. You're like, Anthony, give me specifics. So in the Biohacking Rapid and Sustainable Fat Loss program in the membership site, I teach you how to calculate like a bunch of your targets. And I teach you how to calculate like your lean body mass and how to do it the right way, and then the lower threshold for your protein intake, which is 0.7 times your lean body mass. So basically 70% of your lean body mass. So if you're a girl and your lean body mass was like 105 pounds, which a lot of girls are at when you do it the right way, it'd be like 70 grams of protein a day. And get that protein from a lot of seafood because the quality and source matters tremendously. Like it's much different to get 70 grams of protein from wild caught fish and seafood than it is to get 70 grams of protein from grass-fed beef. One is going to be a lot more inflammatory than the other. So I would start off and I would say, figure out where your lower threshold is on protein using the recommendations I give in Biohacking Rapid and Sustainable Fat Loss. And again, all of that's in the members area. And then start there. Make your protein source mostly wild-caught fish and see how you feel. Do it for at least 2 weeks, ideally 4 weeks, and you'll have a control and you'll be able to say, all right, I'm feeling more energy, I'm feeling more mental clarity, and less sluggish. The yogis have a saying like, eat vegetables to get flexible. When you increase your plant consumption, particularly vegetables, you'll find that you also are more flexible. Like my yoga practices are much better when I'm really high in the plants. And Angie, you're in Chicago too, so you can use services like Irvin Shelley's Fresh Picks, where they deliver a ton of organic vegetables to you every single week. I'm on the family plan, so every Tuesday I get a huge box of like local seasonal organic plants, and it forces you to eat them too. Like every Monday night I'm like cooking up a whole bunch of veggies for dinner because I want to get rid of them before the new stuff arrives on Tuesday. So habits like that can also make it a part of your routine and kind of force the habit. You'll also find you end up spending less money on foods that can interfere with the focus, energy, body composition that you want to have. So that would be my recommendation for starting out, and then dialing it in based on where you feel best. Like how you feel should always guide you with this stuff. And especially, as many of you guys know, there's just so much misleading information out there, and it makes you feel worse. We follow it because I don't know why, but it's time that we all start thinking for ourselves and doing what makes us feel good, because that is the end goal and purpose of all of this. And I want you guys to feel awesome. So figure out where is best for you, and that would be where I recommend starting. And I hope that helps. All right, John, I've been nebulizing nascent iodine to try to beat my asthma. Any recommendations on how to get rid of my asthma for good? All right, so John, I've never tried nebulizing iodine. I do know people that have nebulized other things, but I haven't done that myself. Your asthma is an inflammatory condition and probably has its roots in your nutrition. So what I would do is I would implement everything that I recommend in the Module 1 Nutrition Deep Dive and the nutrition components of the Biohacking Rapid and Sustainable Fat Loss Program in the membership site. You do those, you're going to be reducing a lot of those inflammatory markers, pro-inflammatory cytokines, etc. And you'll find that just by doing that, it's going to have a much more profound impact than any supplement that you can take. So getting all of that stuff in place, and to summarize a lot of those big ones, if you were just to avoid 3 things: all grains, all dairy, all booze, all alcohol, do that for 30 days, you'll notice your asthma is getting better. Then what else is going to help with asthma? Well, it depends on the cause. You know, do you have an abundance of histamine producing bacteria in your gut? You know, so then there's some level of histamine intolerance. Is your body not producing enough diamine oxidase or DAO? All these things can contribute to asthma. What I would say, if you wanted to look into some simple supplements that are pretty effective, quercetin, bromelain, stinging nettle. I believe many of those are combined in a product called D-Hist, D-Hist, and I think that's by Orthomolecular Research, but don't quote me on the brand. If you look up D-Hist, you'll see it on Amazon. But by taking, Now Brand has quercetin with bromelain. You can take 2 of those in the morning on an empty stomach. I think they recommend taking even more than that. Like, they recommend taking like 2 pills multiple times throughout the day. So just follow the directions on the bottle. There are plenty of decent stinging nettle extracts. I think Planetary Herbals is the one that I've used and recommended with clients, but I'd have to double check. And then look into that D-Hist. Again, you don't need to do all of those things. Like, D-Hist would be a good place to start. Some people need to supplement with DAO because their body just doesn't produce enough. And DAO, for those of you guys, the diamine oxidase is the enzyme that helps to break down histamine. Niacin can be really helpful. Working up to 2,000 to 4,000 milligrams of rugby niacin a day. That can help with a histamine dump, so you'll feel pretty uncomfortable at first, but actually some people love it. You get all the blood rushes to the surface of your skin, you get a big histamine dump, and you're less likely to experience some of those allergenic responses that can be frustrating. And then there's probably also some ties to gut dysfunction, so taking steps to optimize your gut with fermented foods, whole food probiotics, good probiotics like Prescript Assist. You may be low in stomach acid production, so hypochlorhydria, and if that's something that's going on, it needs to be addressed. So those are just some of the ways that you want to think, and some of the places that could be tweaked to improve allergies. Your diet's going to be the foundation. Supplement-wise, I've not experimented with the nebulizing iodine, but there's a lot of benefits from the quercetin, bromelain, stinging nettle, and again, you can look into D-Hist if you want a more comprehensive formulation. Possibly supplementing stomach acid, possibly supplementing diamine oxidase, and then optimizing the gut. Those would be, off the cuff, some of the places that I would start without knowing anything else about your situation. And that's, cool. All right. All right, what's up, Eric? Angie says, thank you. I ate a lot of grass-fed beef, but not sure. I would not do grass-fed beef more than once every 2 weeks for right now. Then you can eventually go to once a week. It's a really common bottleneck in people that have a good level of health knowledge is that they're eating way too much grass-fed beef. It's delicious, but yeah, depending on the bacterial composition of your gut, your genes, a whole bunch of other stuff, Angie, I would not do grass-fed beef more than once every 2 weeks, and you'll probably feel an improvement in those things too. All right, so I appreciate you guys joining. Thanks for hanging out. That is it for today's Q&A. We've answered all the questions, and if you guys want more time to do questions during the week and ask more specific stuff about your situation, we have the $197 a month option that you can upgrade to, and that gives you my personal Voxer. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and I appreciate you guys. I love you. I thank you, and I'll talk to you soon in another video. Take care.